Good. My name is John Henry Weston, and I am the co-founder and CEO of LifeSite News, which is a news service that was started in Canada, now largely in America, but we are worldwide. We're an internet news service that's been around now for 25 years. And so we run about 30 articles a day, translated into about 6 languages. And we have our video service and audio service, podcasting as well, with a number of different shows. And we focus on life, faith, family, and freedom from a Catholic perspective.
Yes, and you?
My name is Greg Shea, and I'm resident in Nairobi. And I assist the work of LifeSite News in Africa, which has been about a year and a half now, and is growing nicely. And we're delighted to be here in Rwanda. And we also are building relationships in other parts of Africa.
Okay. What is the objective of your visit here in Rwanda?
Well, we are hoping to help the Catholic community here because we recognize something. In America, where we're from, in all of Europe, where we have really good connections, and even in Rome, there is a crisis of faith, particularly on the issues of life and family. If you witness what's going on, even inside the church, look, most notably in Europe, Germany, for instance, they're losing the faith on the issue of the family in a way that you never thought could be possible. But where is it kept in all the world? Right here in Africa. In Africa, the faith on the issue of the family is maintained. And it's beautiful, and it's a strength. And as Cardinal Sarah, I was with him in Rome only about a month ago, he said, Africa is a young church, but it has something to contribute. And he was talking about the defense of the teaching of Jesus Christ on the family. So that's why we're here. We're here to thank Africa, to encourage Africa to always hold the line, always maintain her fidelity to Jesus' teaching, even though it's hard, because it is hard. We're getting pressure not only from America, with bribes almost, in order to get aid money, you have to accept the LGBT agenda. You're also even getting pressure from those in the church who want to give in to these issues. And so we're here to encourage, to learn from, and to do whatever we can do to help, Africa, particularly in your media roles within the church, to be strong for all of the world.
According to you, in the country where the faith is in a losing way, the media can contribute to remain it?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we've found anyway is that in much of Canada, America, Europe, a lot of people, a lot of good Catholics, are missing the voice of bishops who are willing to stand for the truth of the faith. And so what we've done is we've taken certain bishops who are still willing to speak the truth and amplify their voices so that those Catholics in those areas where they don't have a strong bishop still have the voice of Christ and can hear it and understand it because they receive the teaching from other bishops, from bishops in Africa, from certain bishops in the United States who are still speaking. And so there's a very powerful role for the media to play in terms of amplification of the voices and spreading of the voices of those still faithful bishops to the world so that we can still hear the voice of Christ on the family from the faithful bishops. In addition to that, we provide a Catholic angle on the news and on what's happening in our world today. We promote the movement for pro-life all over the world, and we offer basically the evidence for the truth of Christ. So where a study says, for instance, a study comes out in a journal that says how it is, harmful for the human body, these sexual practices that are outside of marriage, we will report that in order to show the truth of the Catholic Church on these issues is true for everyone, including all human persons. So even though people might say, oh, that's hateful and harmful, it's actually not. It's loving to tell people, hey, this is hurting you. Look, it's hurting you. This medical study shows that it's harming you. And we want what's good for you because we actually love you. We're not haters or bigots. We're the only ones who love because if you have a child who's doing something dangerous, let's say, I had 6 boys, so they love to play dangerous things. If your little boy played on the side of a cliff and he was playing here and, there's a straight drop to kill him, you as a father are going to take your son away from the cliff. No, your son might scream, no, you're not letting me have fun. But it's not loving to let him play on the side of the cliff, even though he's, so happy my daddy lets me do anything. That's not love. You love so you protect the child, even if he complains. And that's what we're dealing with largely in the world today. A lot of people are doing a lot of things that are dangerous for them. They're dangerous for them physically, their health. They're dangerous for them emotionally and psychologically. But we're all Catholics. We want to see all of our brothers and sisters, including those who are same-sex attracted, in eternal life. And we know from Jesus' own words, from the scriptures, from the apostles, those who practice these sexual sins, they don't come into eternal life. So we have to warn them out of love. And yes, we're going to get called haters and bigots, but we're willing to do that in order to save them because they are our brothers and sisters in truth. And so that's really our mission.
Ok. Et je m'adresse maintenant à Greg. Sur la question financière des médias,
Oui.
Vous êtes responsable d'un média catholique comme la Dieu Maria Rwanda. La Dieu Maria Rwanda, comme on vous a dit, vit sur le bien-être des chrétiens. Alors, selon votre expérience en Afrique, est-ce un système qui peut aider un média de survivre toute sa vie?
Oui, je pense que c'est ça. D'après moi, les réseaux informatiques chrétiens ou catholiques sont bien installés ici. Et l'évolution ou la continuation de témoignage de l'Église et de la foi de nous autres, les catholiques, est bien représentée par les réseaux comme Radio Maria. Et particulièrement pendant les 4-5 dernières années. C'était vraiment fascinant et impressionnant que le niveau de professionnalisme et capacité était continuellement sur la piste de développement, on peut dire.
En assistant Grégoire, je vois que la question financière est tout à fait l'un des défis qui peut être l'un des défis qui peut être peut-être un des avantages pour les Radio Maria, peut-être particulièrement Radio Maria qui vit seulement sur les chrétiens. Des fois, c'est ça qui voulait quand même éliminer. Est-ce que comment tu vois cette image?
Je pense que si le produit est bon et le système, le réseau et tout ça de distribution sont effectifs, on aura une réussite sur le plan de finances aussi. Est-ce que c'est la question?
Oui,
c'est ça. Alors, on peut assister, on peut partager notre histoire, nos expériences et tout ça. Et on a commencé avec ça à Nairobi. On a un partenaire qui s'appelle Capuchin TV. Et c'est seulement 1 an de partenariat, mais je pense qu'on peut constater qu'on a des réussites et on a beaucoup d'occasions pour coopérer et tout ça. Et je pense que ça peut donner des résultats sur le plan des finances aussi.
Ok. Vous avez dit que vous vivez aussi pour le soutien des chrétiens. Est-ce que vous avez vous faites comme nous organisons des descentes sur le terrain ici au Rwanda et on collecte des dons et de soutien de nos chrétiens. Il y a un autre principe, mais qui ne donne pas beaucoup de résultats ici, d'avoir des grands donateurs, des gens qui qui se sont engagés de donner quelque chose chaque mois ou chaque année.
Continuellement.
Oui. Est-ce que c'est la même chose que de chez vous?
Je pense que oui. Oui.
Oui, c'est la même chose. On a des dons, des personnes qui donnent chaque mois. Et pour nous, c'était très bien. Il fait le don avec des cartes de crédit en plusieurs. Mais c'est un peu difficile parce que des cartes, they expire.
Oui, oui. On a l'air, oui.
Ça demande des personnes qui l'appelaient et disent OK, on a besoin d'informations nouvelles. Mais ça marche. C'est une méthode de don plus importante parce que c'est. Tous les jeunes qui font support pour Radio Maria doivent penser sur donner chaque mois une donne. Et c'est très bien pour les organisations.
Pour la planification et tout
Oui.
ça.
Ok. Durant votre voyage, je pense que vous irez à Kibeho.
Non, nous avons été déjà.
Et vous avez été déjà à
Déjà,
Kibeho.
Kibeho.
Ah, comment avez-vous senti là-bas?
Je peux répondre en anglais. Oui. Very, very beautiful. The atmosphere there, the priest we spoke to, who was the priest director, beautiful. And you could see in his eyes the faith. And he explained to us about the apparitions and about the messages of Our Lady. Very, very powerful. It's amazing to me that the approvals of the church came because the visions were true, because they showed up. You had it from the 80s, and then in 1994, all of a sudden you had the horrific realization that what was predicted is exactly what happened. And you could tell that Our Lady was begging for conversion and turning around our lives toward Christ. And because we don't listen, this happens. But Father was very clear with us that the message of Kibeho, Our Lady of Kibeho, was not just for Kibeho, not just for Africa. It was for the whole world. And he said something that really struck me. And that was that Our Lady of Kibeho said that the persecution of the church is not just from outside the church. It's from within. And that's very powerful for what we're experiencing today. It was, Father reminded us, it was Pope Benedict XVI that talked about the persecution of the church is most severe from within the church. And so today, we have a crisis in the church greater than ever before in the church's 2,000-year history. And so think about the message of Our Lady of Kibeho, and this is what struck me so much. There's a beautiful statue. We were able to see the visionary praying, Nathalie. They're praying at Mass. Beautiful. I mean, she was in such recollection after Mass, and for so long, we didn't even get to shake her hand, but we were able to be with her at Mass and pray and watch her praying. But what's most interesting to me is that Our Lady warned Kibeho and all of Rwanda about what would happen if they didn't, that the calamity would come if they didn't turn their lives around. And calamity came.
Disaster.
Then she warned not only Rwanda, not only Africa, but the whole world about the danger that would lead to the same thing as happened in Rwanda. And the world really hasn't listened, even the church. And so it makes me wonder what is going to come, because Our Lady had that warning for Rwanda, and what came was the genocide. She had that warning also for the church of the whole wide world, and they haven't listened. So what's coming? So it's a very powerful voice, not only for Rwanda, not only for Africa, but for all of the world.
Okay. Does the Holy Land of Kibeho known in your country?
Only very little.
Yeah.
Only very little. And we hope to help with that. So we were able to do some video there with Father. I've already had Immaculée Iribigiza on my show twice in order to explain about Kibeho and about the Seven Sorrows Rosary. And, so we're going to try and help to make it more known.
And maybe someday the Christian pilgrims who travel in the Western world to obviously Fatima and Lourdes and these places, as they come to know more about the great African apparition sites of Kibeho, and in Uganda we have Munyonyo and others, then there can be a movement of people to get to know each other as well. So there's many things we can do together.
Yeah, of course, definitely.
Okay. By closing our short interview, what can you say on Rwandan after living here? How many days? I don't know. How did them Rwandans
Impression,
Yeah. Well, one thing is most striking to me, and that is, so you went through an absolute disaster, and you are a people who are not nearly as wealthy as in America and everything else, yet you in Rwanda have it much, much better in so many ways. There's more freedom here to be Catholic. There's more, and then something totally stunning, and our guide Alois has pointed this out, and after he pointed it out, it was so stunning. The cleanliness here is just unbelievable. We have a saying in Europe and America, cleanliness is next to godliness. It's beautiful here. When you go to America, in every place, and now sadly even Europe, I just last month was in Italy, in Rome. It's horrible. Graffiti everywhere. And if you go to America, garbage in the streets, and it's just unbelievable. But here, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's no ugly graffiti. There's no garbage all over the place.
And people are very respectfully dressed.
Dressed and in attitude. It's a beautiful, welcoming, and respectful attitude. And it's really something that I think America could learn from, that Europe could learn from. It's sad because the degradation happens first in the faith. And when the faith loses it, the whole of culture devolves. I mean, it goes down around it.
As they say, yeah.
And so, this is a beautiful example of the Africans still having a faith in Jesus Christ and a willingness to promote his truth, unchanging.